everyone, my name is Keely. Welcome to my channel. Welcome back if you've been here before. Today I'm going to talk about all the books that I read in the month of September. And September was a fantastic reading month for me. I read 14 books, resulting in 4,348 pages, and I had 6 5-star reads. This reading month was so good, and I am so happy because I started my new job this month, so I wasn't sure how reading was going to go, especially in the latter half of the month, but I had some great reads and I cannot wait to talk with you about them. As always, I'm going to talk about these books in the order that I read them in. So the first book I read in September was The Lost Book of the White by Cassandra Clare and Wesley Chu. This is book 2 in the Eldest Curses trilogy, and this is Magnus and Alex's story. So in these books, we kind of get to see the behind the scenes of what these two specifically are up to throughout the other series, and it is just so good and heartwarming. I have officially decided Alec and Magnus are my favorite fictional couple of all time. I just get so much joy reading from them, seeing their relationship develop, and seeing what adventures they go on, because these two are complete opposites, and it's so great to see them help each other, like get to know their own selves and evolve as they go along. And I just love it so much because Alec's character development is also fantastic. I actually enjoyed this book more than I did the first one. This one is insane, and we get to see the entire Mortal Instruments gang, so that is also so great because they aren't just side characters in this book. We get to see them throughout the entire story, and I just love seeing the progression of all of these relationships, and I gave this one 5 stars. Next, I read The Sun and the Star by Rick Riordan and Mark Oshiro, and this is a Nico D'Angelo novel. Now, if you've read the Percy Jackson series, you will know that Nico is a very beloved character. He's one of my favorites in the series, and he is the son of Hades, and in this book in particular, he is being called on a quest to go back to Tartarus. Now, people do not come back from Tartarus, so this is a very intimidating and frightening quest that he's going to have to go on, and he brings along his boyfriend Will Solus, who is the son of Apollo. And again, this one was just so good and so heartwarming, again with the characters who are in a relationship that are literal complete opposites. Nico is the son of darkness, and Will is the son of the sun, so like the complete opposites, and I love seeing the growth and the development again with these characters. The first 2 books that I read in this month are very similar in themes and vibes, and I loved both of them, and this one was also 5 stars for me. The next book I read was The Best Way to Bury Your Husband by Alexia Casal, and this is a book I kind of picked up on a whim. I had never heard anyone talk about it, and we follow a group of women who are essentially getting rid of their abusive husbands. So this book is actually set during the COVID period, and so they are all in quarantine. They cannot leave their houses, they cannot see other people, and so if you saw any of the statistics during that time, you will know that domestic abuse really increased during quarantine, and we follow these women who are sadly going through that, and they take matters into their own hands and bury their husbands, and slowly they start building this sense of found family, and I really enjoyed this one. I thought the writing was fantastic. I loved the characters. They all had very diverse and different backgrounds, but ultimately we're dealing with similar problems, and so they really had each other and only each other, and I don't know what I was expecting when this book ended, but it wasn't necessarily that, and I just absolutely loved it. I highly recommend this one, and I gave it 5 stars. The next 3 books I read in a Reading Popular BookTube Books video, so I will leave that link down below. So I'm going to give you short, concise thoughts about these books so that you can go see more in-depth thoughts in that vlog. The first one I read was Part of Your World by Abby Jimenez. I love the characters. Somehow Abby took my 2 least favorite tropes and made me fall in love with this book, and I gave it 5 stars. Next, I read Powerless by Lauren Roberts, and I was very nervous going into this one. I can see why people enjoy it, and I definitely enjoyed it more than I anticipated. I really liked the trial aspect. However, the romance was very lacking for me, so I gave this one 3 stars. The last book I read for that vlog was Once Upon a Broken Heart by Stephanie Garber. I was really nervous about Stephanie's writing because in the Carvel trilogy, that was one of my least favorite aspects, even though I did enjoy that series. However, this book is already so much better than the original trilogy. I loved the characters, I loved the setting, and I gave it 5 stars. I was on a roll this month. The next book I read was Mislaid in Parts Half Known by Seanan McGuire. This is book 9 in the Wayward Children series, and if you haven't heard the series, it is a portal series following children who go into tons of different worlds, and every other book we actually follow a boarding school following all of these children who come back from these worlds. This one in particular was kind of mixed. It was set in the boarding school, but we also got to go see several other worlds. It honestly wasn't my favorite in the series. I found myself a little bored at times. However, one thing that I really enjoy about this series is I truly believe it makes you a more empathetic person. So if you're looking to discover more empathy within yourself, I recommend reading this series. But like I said, this book was not my favorite in the series, so I gave it 3 stars. Next, I read William by Mason Coyle, and this is an AI horror book. We follow this couple who are living in their very fancy rich house, and they are very, very techie people, very intelligent, and the husband is actually creating this AI robot. However, the AI robot ends up taking over. So my only review I have for this book is this book very much gives Disney Smart House, but horror. It was entertaining, it was fun, but nothing that really stuck with me, so I gave this one 3 stars. Next, I read Our Dark Duet by V.E. Schwab, and this is the second and final book in the Monsters of Verity duology. And in this world, we follow 2 different sides of the city. We have the north and the south. And on one side, we follow this kind of dictator, and people pay him for safety from the monsters that have taken over the city. On the other side, we have a kind of better, more empathetic leader, and people actually fight daily for survival. Now, each side has a kid. We have Kate and August. Now, Kate and August are supposed to be enemies, however, they end up teaming up together. The tricky part is August is actually one of these monsters. So in this world, there are 3 different types of monsters, and they are trying to get rid of them. However, Kate and August are ending up having to work together to survive. This book was so good. V.E. Schwab really did it. This duology is now one of my all-time favorites. The monsters are so fascinating, and the way this book went, I did not expect it. And I am devastated. I'm heartbroken. I actually like where it went, but I really didn't expect to cry, and I definitely did. I'm so sad to be saying goodbye to this world. I absolutely love it, and I highly recommend this duology. It is absolutely fantastic. In this second book, actually, we got to meet an entirely new monster, and it was literally chaos, and I just loved every second of it, and I gave it 5 stars. Next, I read A House at the Bottom of the Lake by Josh Malerman, and we follow a teenage couple who are just getting to know each other. They are going on their first date, and they are canoeing on the lake when they get to this secret lake, and they find this massive house at the bottom of it, and they start exploring it. That's all I'm gonna say. This is a horror book, and I honestly am not sure how I feel about it. It was very atmospheric, which I enjoyed, but I don't think I understood the purpose of it, so I ended up giving it 3 stars. Next, I read Come Closer by Sarah Gran, and this is a possession horror story all about this woman, Amanda, who is slowly getting possessed and no one seems to notice. This one was actually horrifying because I know things like this happen in real life, and it was so intriguing to see Amanda's slow descent into madness and chaos. I definitely enjoyed it, and I'm looking forward to reading more from this author, and I give it 4 stars. Next, I read Kill Her Twice by Stacey Lee, and this is a young adult mystery all about this Chinese American woman who has been murdered. It is set in the 1920s, I believe, so these women, these Chinese Americans, do not get the help that they need, and so 2 women from this community decide to take matters into their own hands. I was really looking forward to this one because I like Stacey Lee's historical fiction with mystery and murder involved. However, I've been reading this book since June, and I cannot tell you a single detail about it, and I don't know if that is the fault of the book or the fault of mine, but I'm giving it 2 stars, sadly, because I just could not get through it. And the last 2 books I read in September, I am not going to tell you anything because I'm currently filming a vlog about them. I have 1 more book to read from that vlog, but I do want to show you what I read, but you will have to go and watch that video when it comes out to see my thoughts. So the first one I read was Bless Your Heart by Lindy Ryan and An Education in Malice by S.T. Gibson. There's a little vampire theme going on. That's all I'm gonna say. But that is it for all the books that I read in the month of September. Let me know down below your favorite book that you read this month. I would love to know. If you've made it this far in the video, go ahead and leave the star emoji for the sun and the star. But that is it. Thank you so much for watching. As always, all my social media links will be down below. And I will see you next time. Bye!